Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
A beautiful Monday morning it is. Welcome on board to the 8th day in the month of April 2024. We are grateful to God for life. God has been indeed faithful. Welcome on board to Morning Spring, the very first edition for this week. Here we'll talk about critical issues, crucial matters affecting this nation and us as a people, even looking beyond this country, Nigeria, talking to critical stakeholders, politicians, policymakers to help us make sense of the situation. My name is Evelyn, Ohiolei, and a word for your day today: ensure not to chase after butterflies, because if you do, they might fly away. But spend your time mending your garden, creating a garden, because when butterflies see that, they will definitely come to patch. This means to not chase, but attract good things to your life. Welcome on board once again. Femi is here.
Of course, as long as I agree with everything you said,
yes,
you are in the risk of sounding like those aspire to Maguire.
It's not about thing anyways. We all need some form of motivation.
I'm motivated, instead of chasing butterflies, I should get a garden.
Exactly.
So that instead of chasing them, they will rather come to the garden and they'll see butterfly.
One day motivation.
Evelyn, 2024, even like wasabi, we don't do more than this, I'm telling you.
Indeed.
By the way, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good to have you join us. All those things here, she has said, are the things we do here and even more. Thank you for joining us as well from here in Nigeria and all across the globe, because you can be a part of this program by joining us via YouTube and or even Facebook, all at Western Spring Television. It promises to be very, very exciting. The issue with the electricity tariff, the stoppage of the electricity subsidy is still, that conversation is still very rife at this time because for many persons, Evelyn, they are even confused. They don't know where they belong at the moment. The ban is looking, the narrative of the government is, if there is anybody that will be paying more, or customers, it will be the guys on the band A.
Yeah.
Okay, so many persons are wondering who are the band A, which guys are the band A. Don't forget, last week the NERC came, hammer came on hard on some distribution company, especially the Abuja and all the Abuja electricity development distribution company rather, when it was learned that even those on band B were paying for the tariff that's supposed to be paid for by those on band A, and even they don't even have that light. They don't have that power, so they have to be paying 225 naira, per kilowatt, and that's more like 1,000 for 4 units of light, and they don't have it. So the NERC, that's a regulatory body, said you guys should, make find a way of, whatever you've gotten from these guys, give it back to them, and then they were fined as well. But the thing is, how will they do that? Who monitors if Abuja Electricity Development, why do I say development? Distribution company goes through with that? If they have to change me and they are being told to reprogram the thing so that I can be given back the unit, if it is done or not, in every of those homes, in every of those businesses having those prepaid meters, who will monitor? And for the guys that are on estimated billing, who monitors as well?
Well,
because it's not just about direct. For the fines, you can monitor that if they are paid or not. But for the different homes and businesses that have suffered unjustly.
Well, I think the people should be in the know, and this is where institutions should enable to carry their customers along before bringing up a very critical update or development like this. People have to know that, okay, this is what is happening. We are being moved to this particular band, or we will be paying more than this particular band. Not just we waking one morning and you're telling us that we've been moved from a particular band to this band, or the ones that are on band A are going to be paying 300% higher. I think before now, sensitization awareness should have been done. for everybody to be aware that such development will take place. I will be paying more for electricity, and this is the number of hours I'm supposed to have electricity, not just that I'll be paying and I will not get electricity as you have promised. So, it's two things. It's for the distribution company to ensure that they pass the information across, because sometimes they just put it on their website. People don't even go there to actually know what's happening, but they have to be in all media houses, make use of social media to ensure that people are aware that if you're on this particular band, and this is the number of hours that you are going to, enjoy power supply. If you're on band B, band C, for the joke, someone said, I'm sure I'm on band J, because with this 30 minutes electricity I'm having, it sure shows that I'm not between band A to E.
Part of the community that I live, or just I was at the office yesterday trying to fix something, and then with the other guys, so we are on band B.
People need to be aware. They need to be sensitized on what they should do, and the development that has come as a result of this particular
Evelyn, I think the
decision.
reason, very rightly, I think the reason why they may not want to do that is because of responsibility or irresponsibility. Because there is no way you will tell the people they will pay more, and then they won't ask you, what are you offering?
Yeah.
What are you offering? Because that's the thing. I'm sure not many of those distribution companies can beat or hit their chest and come out and say, for whatever increase you are getting in tariff, we have the commensurate, quality of light that we'll give to you in terms of how full, what we say around here, how the current is okay. And even the duration in which we will give it to you.
The standard
so you can't come out and say, we pay more.
Yeah, exactly.
And the people will not ask you, on top what, why will you want to increase it? What are you offering? I think that's the reason why sometimes they ghost in not sensitizing the people enough. And then you see some of them being tagged on their social media page or pages to answer to some things. Most of the times they don't answer to these things. Yeah. The current is just there. You see, for example, the distribution company covering this area is IBDC. And sometimes you look at the comment, Shagamu, this one and that one. Possibly you after like barrages of questions, which I know is not really easy, but that's why you have handlers. Yeah. So you can even outsource these things if actually your staffers cannot handle these things. But then let it be said that sometimes maybe Nigerians can even pay for premium. But the thing is, offer them that premium.
People
Don't
say if we can get 24-hour supplies, we do not mind the amount we're going to be paying. People want to pay, but they want to pay for standard. They want to pay for quality. That is that about it.
And if you see anybody, when you are providing that standard, now trying to shortchange, to bypass, to cheat you, then come in hard. And the people will even know that, yes, at least, you guys, you are engaged in energy theft.
Yes.
That's it.
And today is April 8th, and we learned that there will be a total solar eclipse today across North America, giving more than 33 million people living in 15 U.S. states a review of the totally obstructed sun and weather, permitting a taste of some seriously strange eclipse phenomena. It's amazing. I think the last time I witnessed something like this was when I was in secondary school. It was a total solar eclipse. I mean, during the day everything just went dark, and I remember them providing us some glasses, for us to just look at the sun and all of that. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and we hear that the people of North America will be witnessing this today.
I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So if you are lucky, you witness the one that happened over 20 years ago. Now you are in North America, you might get to witness another one. Remember, you are warned not to look at it with your bare eyes, and some persons have to put some kind of clothing on their eyes. All kind of glasses that day. They turn not glasses, the normal glasses.
It's actually a beautiful view.
And it happened for a few minutes, by the way, and everything was shut down. And the superstitions around these things, how Nigerians can be religious and superstitious. No,
I remember that day in secondary school.
People were praying, and people were like, rapture is going to happen, and people were like, some demons are the one in charge. And some persons saw it as a moment that the heavens are open.
So you have to put in your prayers, your supplications, I remember that the classes were off. We all were on the assembly field, and we were just waiting for it to happen, waiting for it. And when it happened, everybody shouted, screamed. There were no phones as like that to take memories.
All right.
But then it's a beautiful view, and North America will be enjoying this today.
Right.
All right, we take this break. It's time for the newspaper review session, and we will be doing that right after this break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. It's still Morning Spring, and right here is the newspaper review session. And I'll be starting with the Punch newspaper this morning. I'll be starting with the Punch newspaper to let us know what we have on today's plate. FG plans 3 national ID cards for 104 million Nigerians in June. NIMC awaits presidential approval for May launch, says procurement will be seamless. Nigerians to get different e-cards for banking, social intervention, ECOWAS activities. And, Nigerians have reacted to this, Femi, that why not just have a one card that fits all, one size fits all, one card for everything, not us having voters card, we are having NIN, we are having driver's license, we are having BVN, we are having all of these cards, and now you want to have another card for social intervention and all of that. People are saying,
I think maybe that's what they're trying to do.
This is getting too much. This is getting too much. Now, 3 national ID cards for 104 million Nigerians. We'll see how this pans out in the coming months ahead. And Salah, FG declares Tuesday, Wednesday holidays as Tinubu arrives Lagos. It's homecoming for Mr. President, and he's a Muslim, so this is a major celebration and a major break for him. Relocation: Lagos terminates multi-billion naira Katangua market contract. Female London Lagos solo driver gets heroic welcome, and that's talking about Pelumi Nubi, who has been traveling, or who traveled rather, for 68 days, moving across 27 countries from London to Lagos, and it's been a wonderful experience of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I remember getting into an accident, and everyone was worried for her, but she's back home, and it was really indeed a heroic welcome for her. She was
celebrated yesterday.
Yes.
And it was a good side to see that Nigerians definitely will hop into that particular frenzy and celebrate her. But I'm particularly excited that the immigration officers were there in uniform.
So welcome.
They welcomed her, took her by the hand, and horns blazing, the trumpeters were playing. And the reason why I said that, most of the times when these kind of things happen, many of the Nigerian agencies or personnel, people in uniform are stiff in their approach, cold, more like doesn't concern us, we're on duty. It's but they were there. They were seen in their uniform, high-ranking officers, to be a part of that particular history. And finally, the Pelumi is home. Yeah,
she's home with Lumi. The name of our car is Lumi. And it's, a wonderful sight to behold of this 28-year-old travel content creator. And away from that, India-bound trafficker vomits secretes 80 cocaine wraps in Lagos airport. Top corner of the Punch newspaper, front page now for today. OPS takes power tariff hikes protest to Tinubu, and $2.3 billion CMN power project transformers substations arrive Nigeria. Dollar video release report of Ganduja's probe. Kano tells EFCC this matter is still on ground. And lastly, from the Punch, editors abduction, NPAN, NJE, NUJ demand probe, threaten lawsuit. And that's all we have from the front page of the Punch newspaper for today.
And from the Punch, we move to the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper is next. Petrol. Oil marketers propose 550 naira per litre price to Dangote. And right is here. The big one is petrol. Oil marketers propose 550 naira per liter price to Dangote. And talks ongoing over price, margins, others, marketers. Let's enjoy benefit of domestic refining, exports and consumers. And I think that's very right. In as much, at least there is a company trying to produce locally, there should be a change, you know, at least something beneficial. Now, sector-wide impact expected, CPPE, and refinery owners task federal government on $1 billion fund. Refinery owners, who are they? As far as we're concerned, the only private refinery in Nigeria right now is Dangote Petrochemical, you know, company. But then maybe there are many more artisanal, you know, refinery owners in which many persons have been clamoring for the government to standardize and let them come on board. You see that on page 19. Moving on, of course, you see the picture of refinery there, and the man, the captain in charge of that company, of the Dangote refinery, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and Tinubu in Lagos for Eid al-Fitr. He said that he's back in Lagos to, you know, celebrate the end of the fasting period. He's being flanked by his own boy there. That's Governor Sanwo-Olu, the latest Baba Yawo in town. But moving on, mistakes Nigeria made. General Ike Nwachukwu, Yusuf to Ganduje, you speak of failures after 80 years of misrule. Of course, many things happening there at the cosmopolitan city. That's the center of commerce. Kano. Terrorists kill Army lieutenant, wound 4 soldiers. Again, Doguba communities command Obaseki task him on more roads to ease campaign. Really tasking your governor to do more roads so that campaign can be easy. What an angle. So the reason why for that person, why the governor must do more on road infrastructure is so that campaign will be smoother. Interesting. Many things happening. Top strip here. Electricity metering will enhance investment growth in power sector. The higher boss. Okay. And we have been on this for a long time. Metering, give it to the local manufacturers, import it, metering. We are still talking about this in, you know, April 8, 2024. NPAN, NGE, NUJ, BON, CSOs, others seek probe of journalist detention. There is one probe that must be done and that must be seen to be done, especially newsmen, the press, men and women, and of course journalists being harassed, detained, you know, facing challenges in one way or the other unnecessarily in the course of doing their duty. And then you see all these associations come, the Guild of Editors, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Broadcasters Organization of Nigeria, civil society organizations coming out to say that particular journalist, whatever happened around it, his detention must be really probed. And Monday interview rather, tariff hike, how we are solving Nigeria's power problem. Adelabo advocates efficient management of electricity. I think Evelyn and many more people might be interested to know how Minister Adelabo is solving Nigeria's power problem. And for Mr. and Mrs. saying, when you stood at the entrance, blocking the way, she said, "Excuse me," and you gave her a squeeze. Good for nothing, shameless man. And the man responds, "I thought she said, squeeze me." So, excuse me and squeeze me. Even if you are told to by a strange woman that you should squeeze her, your brain is supposed to tell you what you are supposed to do. Evelyn, that's what the Vanguard has for us. Yeah. Excuse me and squeeze me.
You know, men always have an explanation for everything.
Okay.
You know, when they are caught in the act, the first thing they will say is, "It's not what you think. Tell me what I think,
That's a
Mr. Man."
Nollywood, that's a Nollywood standard.
All right, we move over from the Vanguard to the Guardian newspaper for today. And this one is found on page 6, road to 500 billion naira recapitalization. Bank owners lobby, seek adjustments in share capital composition. And you have all the figures and data there. You know, Nigeria may witness fewer banks by March 31, 2026. And monetary tightening may continue to check inflation as prices remain sticky. Tier 1 banks need to source for 1.5 trillion naira to bridge the capital shortfall, and the banking industry sits on 3.85 trillion naira in retained earnings. You know, and we have the picture of the head of the CBN there, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso. Away from that, Naira's defense debt servicing gulp 1.4 trillion naira as foreign reserves deep. Gavi Alliance initiates $1 billion program to boost vaccine production in Africa. Electricity tariff hike, FCCPC, others pressure FG to revoke decision. I'm focused on fixing Nigeria's problems, not LP's internal crisis, says Obi. And Femi, one might want to ask, you know, if you said you're focused, it's like he's saying you're focused on getting to a particular destination without fixing the car that is giving you problems. Yeah. If Mr. Peter Obi is still going to make use of LPs, you know, he has not declared his intention for 2027, but a lot of people have rumored that he might, you know, throw in.
Come back again.
He might throw in, you know, his heart into the ring come 2027. And we even hear that he might get an automatic ticket for 2027 in the Labour Party. But him saying is focused on fixing Nigeria's problems, not LP's internal crisis. What does this say? If you're not focused on fixing the vehicle that wants to take you to a particular destination, then why? It's also part of Nigeria's problem, I should say, because LP is a party in Nigeria. So for me, this particular statement by Mr. Peter Obi should be given, you know, more context.
I think going by your analogy of having a 40 car and you're embarking on a journey, I dare say, within this context, that there are many cars. You don't have to travel with one car. If there is a car that is not functioning, is it not? When that car seems not to be functioning, or you are not even interested, you know, interested, but you don't have to be a Kwelumi that was stuck with Lumi. You know, but Lumi had issues, whatever, you know, she still found herself. But in this context, whatever is on the table right now is bigger than the kind of journey that Balumi took over is about, took on, and, you know, she landed, kudos to her. But if this labor vehicle, using Evelyn Ohiolei's analogy, there are many vehicles. There are even bigger vehicles.
For every
if you understand what I'm saying.
There is a Bumi, there is a Kuni, there is a Zuni.
So that might even be bigger vehicles. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay,
if
we wait and see.
But they should put their act together.
Exactly.
Because many persons saw the characters and the personality of Obi on that particular Labour Party to jump in, but it seems they are not getting their act together. But then we wait to see all the best of that.
All right, very quickly, let's round off with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Yusuf knocks Ganduje over criticism of administration and how metering will enhance investment transparency in power sector. That can be found on news page 7. And criminals in camouflage. Our rising impersonation of operatives complicates internal security. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian.
And from the Lumi, Bumi, Kuni, you know, all the kind of, and Zumi that Evelyn is talking about, and the vehicle of the Labour Party possibly being rickety or having issues, being fixed, or maybe there are other vehicles that people there might want to travel in. We go to what the Daily Trust asks for us this morning, and the big one says Nigerians in UAE stranded over work permit, visa ban. And riders lose over 200 jobs, face discrimination. They should return home to beat Nigeria. Wow. Okay. Discussions ongoing to resolve issues. Ministers aid. All right. This is one situation that many persons would think that should have been fixed, especially as the president has been to Dubai, you know, at least for business talks or wherever. But how can this business happen, you know, if actually the bottlenecks are not fixed? Yeah. I know some of those issues predate President Tinubu, and some of them are even caused not by the country, so to say, but by some persons. I mean, by some Nigerians. And I'll give you an example. There was a time that there were fights on the street of Dubai. You know, by who? By some restless, shameless individuals doing court activities in Dubai. You know, they were pursuing themselves with cutlasses on the streets of Dubai, in another man's land, doing these, you know, all this kind of whatever that they do, hitting people's cars, behaving unseemly many times. In fact, there was a time that many of them, all of them were Nigerians, they burgled a jewelry shop, you know, a fancy, luxurious jewelry shop. They didn't even cover their eyes. So many persons, you think you are attacking one shop at Agumbelewo. All of them were seen, and you are from another country, all of you, you know, and these are the issues. And so when these issues got so much, you know, they had to put a ban on these with other factors, by the way. Not only that, there was the airline issues and the rest of them. Those airlines don't be able to get their funds. But you expect that the president should be working on this. We were given a lead of hope by Chief Ajuri Ngelale when he came and said, everything has been settled. And then the VAR came into action to say that you are checked and say, oh, God, you are lying. See, now he didn't even, you know, apologize for that. They were only had to package. But that's the issue. Now, many of them are there. Daily Trust is saying Nigerians in UAE stranded because some of them, their work permit has expired. You can't do that if you don't have your visa renewed. So they are just there. And the moment they dare come home, you can return again. So some of them are just, they are stranded. They are not doing anything. The best they can do for some of those people is manual jobs, and in which it will just be like slavery. So it's a bad one. I just think everybody, you will have called Nightcom, you know, to, that's Abike Dabiri's, you know, led agency, but I think there will soon be some zoom into another unit. The unit is stand, or the agency, by the way. So, and the picture here is a very sad one, especially when you see it has to do, I think, with what is going on right there. You know, you can easily see it's part of what is happening at a rubble where a disaster has happened, and somebody has been there just seeing what is happening with flowers and the rest of the thing, and vegetables. Is a sad situation in many parts of the world, not just in Gaza. You know, there are natural disasters in some parts of the world as well. You got to just see everybody through with their challenges. Now, palliatives. 9 die in stampede in Wamako's house. Evelyn, we are here again. Yeah. Can you recall this kind of instances that we have talked about on this same program in the last 1 month? This year alone, we've had, I mean, in the last 1 month, we've had like 4. We've had what happened in Lagos. Yes. We've had it happen in Nasarawa, you know, the unfaithful incident with those 2 students, female students. We've had people die in Bauchi, 7 people, now 9. 9. And those are reported cases. I mean, this should actually make any government why do we do this? Go into action. 9 die. If you want to share anything, ensure it's orderly. And our people also should ensure that even if you don't get, just calm down. You know, this whole attitude of, I must see my own, I must see my own. And everybody wants to be at the front. And there are people that, you know, you already gotten your own package and you're still going back there to get more. So as we talk to the people organizing this event, we should also talk to our people to be orderly, to be organized, and to be patient. Yeah.
That's it, because these 9 lives, they are irreversible. Nothing can be done. They went there to get what to eat, but at the end of the day, they didn't return back to even, sort for their lives.
They return in body bags.
9 died. This is 9 people, not 9 animals, not 9 flies, 9 human beings with families.
Is former Sokoto governor, I think a senator, and whatever the good intention might be now, this is a taint. Not just a taint, a bad situation that has ended, albeit a good intention. Because how do we just do these things? It's a sad one. And you're talking about 9 people. Now, those 9 people, the ripple effect on their families, it will not just be about the loss of 9 people. There might be people's fathers and uncles, and situations will never be the same in those homes. Yeah. Can we just do? And I think you've done a good job by saying people should please calm down. If you didn't see today, you might get to see tomorrow. And it speaks to the level of hunger in the land. Let's speak fact to where the thing is. Evelyn, in your own modest way of living, that you're still praying to God for better days, there are some situations that if you find yourself, you'd rather retrace and say, I'm going home. Not because you have enough, but because in this place, there is propensity for danger. But for people that are very, very hungry, they don't care. And sometimes a desperate mind doesn't think. They will just feel, in as much as people are here, we die here.
I too will have.
And literally, you have died there. And that is what is happening. It's a sad situation that should be investigated, by the way. And for forestalled, military neutralizes terrorists who kill soldiers in Borno. That's a good one. Media body CSOs demand investigation into editors' detention, being harassed, killed sometimes in the line of duty. You might say it comes with a job, but it doesn't have to be the situation every time. Sultan asks Muslims to look out for Shawwal moon today. By the way, the Minister of Interior, Lobo Mitunju, said tomorrow and Wednesday is a public holiday in Nigeria. So you get to enjoy whatever it is. But many persons were wishing it's today and tomorrow.
So you can have it into the weekend.
Have an overlap of the weekend or Thursday and Friday, but it is
like what they had last week for the Easter, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Nigerians love holidays.
We are holiday.
We love holidays. And, that was what made the former Interior Minister, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, popular. Whenever he declares public holiday, there's this picture of ease that is like this. That's majorly what most media outlets use. And people are like, yes, Baba has done it again. Let's go again. But it's wonderful. People love holidays. They want to rest out because we work hard. And people really want a time where they can actually be with their families and just to have, a good time with their families.
And I just hope it's only those 2 days. You know why? You know what happened in government institutions? The moment something happens, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're not serious, the rest of that week,
nothing is going to happen.
Get to see anything done. We're having that discussion yesterday, and I have to say, except the head of that agency is an extraordinary person who will not want that kind of a thing. The moment your boss is around, you just have to fall in line. But if the boss is not even one, that he won't be around, everybody will just do whatever they want, and it slows down. Imagine people want to sign documents, people want to do business, people want to handle one thing or the other, and because this is festival week. It's not a week, it's just 2 days.
2 days.
It is what it is, and that will be where we take a pause today. We've been able to give to you what the Daily Trust, the Guardian, the Punch, and the Vanguard, they all had and have for us today. Many things to really look into, but then it is what it is. Talking about the reason for the holiday, and I think it's about the end of the fasting period. It's called a holy month, in which Islamic faithfuls are meant to stay away, from some certain regular things, and even irregular ones as well, to keep the faith, to pray, to meditate and the rest of it. And the question is, when we're younger, we used to say these things that if those people, I'm not talking about religion now, if you have been able to stay away from some certain things because you are meant to do so, especially things that are not proper, now after the fast, you now resume back to those things again. The fact that you'll be able to refrain for 29, 30 days, isn't that an indication that if you really want to stay away, you could stay away?
Yeah, people can adapt to anything, anytime, if they put their mind to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we are humans. That's why someone who will travel from Nigeria here to another country that has, you know, the temperatures is so cold, but then you are able to adapt, even though you're coming from a very, you know, hot temperature, temperate place like Nigeria. So it's what they put their mind to do. And, you know,
if you are using that logic, many persons are in that particular weather. They are not adapting. They don't have choice. They are just there.
It's still part of it because they don't have a choice. They have to adapt.
Yeah. Okay.
And over time, maybe the first year you got there, you might want to die. But then, after then, you get used to it. You already know what to do, what not to do, for you to just have, you know, for you to stay there without any issues. So it's the same way. If you have put your mind to something, definitely they know that, okay, this 30 days rather, they are supposed to, there are things they're supposed to do, things they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
But after 30 days, they feel, okay, we're back.
I'm not talking about the thing, you know, during the month of fasting, there are things that are normal, regular. Eating is normal in the morning, but you are not doing that. In the afternoon, you are not doing that. It's normal that after the fasting, you resume.
You're talking about the bad things.
Yeah, I'm talking about the bad things that people, you know, the things that you regard as being bad is what I'm talking about. You know, having conjugal relationship with your spouse at any time of the day is allowed, but during fasting, you can't do it when you are fasting, except you break the fast and the rest of it. Those things are normal. But I'm talking about extracurricular activities that people do. And during fasting, you see the same people, very religious, they don't do that. They don't even go to some certain places. There are some conversations that they don't get to have with you. There are some things that they don't do because of the piety in the fasting, and everybody is like, okay. But the moment it is over, you know, there's a particular viral video, I say it in Yoruba, that the Islamic cleric, very dynamic person, but quite humorous in the way he put out his things, and in which the man is called Buhari Omo Musa, in which he said, people that break their fast with cannabis, don't tease yourself, you are not fasting. There are some people who buy, I don't want to mention the wrong name, there are some people who buy this stuff, they will have the one they use in Shinu, you know, and the one they have, the one they take during the Sari. These are the things that some people do. So if that is what you do, if you're able to stay away for 30 days, isn't that an indication that if you really want to do these things, you can just stay away? But people will say, we are human after all. And so we go again.
But people are already counting down. You know, I can't wait for it to end. I'm counting down. Amazing, isn't it? No, I mean, we are wonderful people.
We are. But, and I'm not very sure it's a Nigerian thing, by the way, but we're only speaking in the context of what we know. Before we leave this place, Evelyn, there's this story on pages of the Vanguard, and in Rider, that people said, let's enjoy benefit of domestic refining. And I think it's right. Now, when we are importing, we don't have power over some certain things. Now that there is an indigenous company, is not a national company, by the way. Dangote and his partners or shareholders are there to make business. But then in as much this business is happening in Nigeria, shouldn't there be like a show, something that will show the people that, okay, finally, thank God, this business is happening in Nigeria, and so this is the way it has been helpful. That's what people are saying.
Yes, I think there should be a show for it. To digress a bit, we know what's happening with Alan Oyema's airpiece, and now that they've been able to fly Lagos to London, and the price has actually crashed, and this has actually forced the other airlines to also adjust their prices. 1.2 million naira to London from Lagos. I mean, people used to pay 3 million and above before, but right now, 1.2 million naira for the same service. And you know, it shows that when we have something that we can call our own, we will first look out for our people. I mean, so if we have indigenous companies come up definitely it will benefit us as a people, you know, compared to when these things are imported or these things are done by people outside of our country. When we have, that's why people are clamoring for public office holders to make use of vehicles made here. Yes, we know that the excuse is okay. The spare parts is somewhat hard to get the spare parts and all of that.
And that's why you should help that company to have those spare parts produced.
That's why you have to help them to make them more established, you know, in this part of in the country. So having indigenous companies will help us. I mean, do Nigeria, we are Nigeria, spend Nigeria, you know, that's Reno's line. But then it actually makes sense that everything we do, let us ensure to push our country forward by using what we produce, using our services, spending our currency, and we will definitely have a better country.
Yeah, agree. Two quick things, Evelyn there. You know, that maiden flight of airpiece to London, and I think we should have that conversation someday. It didn't come without these challenges, very huge, because we learned there was maybe something that looked at an intentional ridiculing, if I may want to say that. That journey wasn't smooth. We learned all the respect and processes that were supposed to accord them on that flight, landing at the other side. They didn't do that. There is this thing, I've forgotten what it is called now, that when a new flight has just been undertaken and you land, I think it's a water salute or something that they do, you know, at the other side. They do it. In fact, somebody put some examples of how it has been done right there. I think it was at Gatwick or somewhere. And then when Airpeace landed, they didn't do that. And they did it for other airlines. And that was ridiculous.
Femi, they should keep their water salute to themselves.
But I'm just speaking to how it's not sometimes easy for indigenous companies to break through into global space. And that is not, but you might want to say, keep your water to we will wash our plane ourselves.
Good things don't come easy, they don't come cheap. But then if it's about the water salute, if it's about according out the respect, they should keep their respect to themselves. So far, we are keeping our monies to ourselves, and we're making monies for ourselves.
And let the company, I'm just using Airpeace as an example, let's keep up a global standard, because that's very key. You won't, because you're a Nigerian company and you started well, all of it, you know this thing I would do. A particular product comes up, everybody is running a task to have it because they have brought something new, and then people are rushing it, and then they are coming for it.
Before you know, the quality
and then after
drops.
you drop the quality, the price begins to go up, and then you go regular like the other things. That's the way we do things around here. But then let them keep up what is obtainable, and even if actually they can even, you know, go higher than what is obtainable. Whatever somebody is going to get on flight BA, flight AC from other companies, I'm just using those initials, is what you should have, and even do more. And it's interesting. I saw the kind of food that was served.
The reviews have actually been
Nigerian
amazing.
delicacies. For many persons, that's a major one for them, because they can't afford to be eating bread and tea and cabbage and lettuce and hot dogs. For some persons, even how international some persons are, their stomach don't cooperate with those things. So you rather serve me a fufu and find a goosey and, you know, whatever. And if you want to go for the other ones as well, it's good to have it as well. That is a major one that we must celebrate.
Yeah, we must celebrate. We should celebrate, and Nigerians are already celebrating it. Because
I said two things. The second one is talking about doing things or spending, you know, in Nigeria for the Nigerian economy. And is very good as well. Will you have at least we know about Innocent, we know about JAC. There is another one. I think there are 3 manufacturers, car manufacturers in Nigeria, or assembling points. Can you imagine the president telling all the ministries that every car's vehicles that be gotten should be gotten from Innocent, should be gotten from Jack, and these, you know, these not like an endorsement or whatever for them, but ingenious companies.
Just to promote them.
How many units do you think those companies will sell? And they should have an understanding with them. For every car we are buying, there should be a ready-made spare parts for them. Let them know. In fact, you might tell them you'll be maintaining the car for the next 2 years. So it will make the company to stand on its toes and do what is good, and they have enough money to expand into other areas as well. That's one. Before you speak on it, and for Reno Omokri, that is always canvassing for Nigeria, if I say Reno today, in my own opinion, you can't stay in London. And you are telling me how to behave here. I've told you before.
Femi, believe the message. Leave the message.
No,
messenger. You know, take the message.
If you don't have the moral right to speak about some things, don't just be involved. You can't stay in London.
It doesn't invalidate his message.
Your children are going to foreign schools. You are telling me to do whatever you are doing here. He wanted to celebrate his birthday the other time. They went to Rwanda, they went to Kenya. You don't have Calabar there to come to.
Femi, it doesn't really invalidate his message. Like, that's why I said, take the message, leave the message.
That same message, I will take it from other persons. Other persons are saying it. For Reno, let him see this one out.
All right.
You can't stay in London. You are telling me to stay in Agubeleo and be buying Nigeria. You are spending your money there.
Well, you're already in the country. He's outside of the country.
So what moral right? Why will he not come back to Nigeria? So
if he has businesses in that part, you don't expect him to leave his business and come to Nigeria.
Okay.
I mean, there are millions of Nigerians outside of the country that have businesses over there.
Let
and
him
they are patriotic Nigerians.
Let him bring his children to OAU and UI and spend his money here.
Femi,
yeah.
You have an issue to actually sort out with Reno.
You know, the thing is, sometimes whatever is Reno is saying is you know, he has his audience for that. But the true intention sometimes, he just don't want to be trending, you know, chasing clouds, all in the name of your sending message, your establishment, your entire self, because you are putting on some adire or agbada that he wears, doesn't mean that is all. You are all of your existence. You are spending it in that economy. You are telling us to stay here, spend here. There was a time he even made a particular, you know, post that instead of a particular network, you know, you should use this particular one. Instead of this one, you should use this one. And he even went flawed by saying, boycott this one. And guys should be watching a particular channel. And that particular channel is talking about is only available on that particular service provider. So some of these things, I call it cloud chasing. You can't stay in London and tell me how to behave in Nigeria. Come back. And then we have that conversation. All
right. I hope this message can actually get to Mr. Reno. Femi's telling you to come back home.
Yes,
if you really
and let's have this discussion.
Want to be patriotic as a Nigerian. I mean, I would say even if you wouldn't come back home, you should have businesses in Nigeria that will actually, you know, invest in the Nigerian economy. But then, like we always say, that we are all for a good and greater country. We want to be seen and known and work as truly the giant of Africa, not on paper, but what other African countries will see and say Nigeria is the giant of Africa, not just only in population, but in the things they are doing. And we definitely know that Nigeria will work, must work in our own lifetime.
Amen to that. We take a pause right now. We'll be back. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. And the conversation this morning is about what we hinted at earlier, the recent decision of the federal government, you know, to suspend the continuous payment of subsidy on electricity, which has caused the electricity tariff hike, by the way. And the explanation given by Dan was that it was going to affect only the customers on Band A. Band A, they are the customers that you could tag as the premium users of electricity. But news making the round says, you know, it was agreed, maybe these are the guys that will be having 18, 20 hours on the average in a day out of 24 hours of constant power electricity, standard, you know, not the ones we call low current, so to speak, or, you know, bad current, the standard you know, current, and then the hours. But it is now being seen that that's not the case. And by the way, to put it in a context, it was 65 or 66 naira per kilowatt before. Now it has jumped 300% higher to 225. So in essence, your unit that could get you 15, 14, 13, I mean 1,000 naira that could get you 15, 14, 13 units before will only get you 4 unit. And so you can just do the math yourself. Now, the attendant effect that this is having on businesses can never be overemphasized. And many persons are even wondering, how come distribution companies always swing into action? Whenever this kind of pronouncement is made, immediately they just take it off without prior notice, to their customers as well. Now, what is this causing? We have been joined by human rights activist this morning, of a labor movement person, but also a business owner, Comrade Ayo Ologun. Thank you for joining.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
This morning. And Comrade, where do we even start from? Let me start from this point, that immediately the announcement was made, the adjustment took, just went into action like that. Many persons will say, how come? Is it a people thing? Now, this is not a people thing now. This is an organization thing. The moment something comes that looks like there is an upward review of something, it comes into existence immediately. But when it's a downward review, you'll see some of the people involved not, making excuses why that thing cannot be done, from 66 naira to 225 or thereabout. There's almost 300% increase. And when we say, what is even the quality of what you are even increasing the tariff of? So just try to unravel this for us, taking it from the fact that you are an human rights activist, also you're a business owner.
Well, it is very important that we put the issues into very clear perspectives.
Please.
Number one, we need to understand that the unbundling of electricity generation and distribution in Nigeria, just like you have highly imputed, was hurriedly done in such a way that it did not allow for enough time for people to understand the process. Because it's only a process that you understand and that you have tested, that people can align with and, of course, not complain about. Because by the time the unbundling of the electricity the generation and supply, distribution was done, it came at a time where an average Nigerian has not moved in understanding that federal governments do not have hand in all the process. As it is today, 60% of the cost of power generation is supposed to be borne. That is the agreement. It's being borne by the federal government. After generation, they sell now to business owners. That's why you have a distribution company, Kaduna this, Lagos this. Those ones are expected to now distribute power based on the quantity or so gotten from generation. So number one, we are not generating enough. Because rather than the federal government to have put more attention on the process of power generation over the years, they've allowed Nigerians to live under the delusion that power is a right. I am not one of the people that will tell anybody that power is your right. It is a privilege.
Some will say it's a social contract.
It's a social contract, but that does not make it a right.
Has that changed?
Social contract is like a business. If I enter a social contract with you, if I'm paying you for a service, you deliver. That is what a social contract means. But not when it is a law, it is a right by saying whether I fulfill my own part of the deal or I don't, you owe me. We should get it clear. But over the years, the federal government's successive administration is supposed to have invested into power generation such that we have enough power first to power the needs of Nigerians before we'll now be talking about the price of distribution and the business of the distribution. But because over the years, the federal government has modeled it up, they are the same person that generates, they are the same people that refine, they are the same people that distribute, they are the same people who are supposed to be making profit for the nation, but of course the sabotage within the system makes it impossible. Now when they decide to unbundle that process, it should have been done in such a way that there should have been much more elasticity in the provision or generation of power. But you cannot continue to generate the same quantity that you've been generating in 25, 30 years and now be thinking of doing business with what has not increased. So for as long as there was no increment in power generation, it was wrong for the government to have started the business of distribution by selling off distribution network to discos as they are called. So we got it wrong at that level. And until we go back,
we have the generation, transmission, and distribution.
Yes, those are the three networks. The federal government is in charge of power generation. That is why you still have the Kanji Dam, which seems to be the only sustainable source of power generation in Nigeria as of today. That is where you have the power grid from.
Yeah.
And that is why the TCN office in Osogbo seems to be one of the most powerful network of power generation and distribution in Nigeria, because power has been generated from Kanji step down a power line. So when you talk about power generation, after being generated from Kanji Dam, the transmission of it is also being handled by government. That's why we have the TCN, Transmission Company of Nigeria, which is also that of the government. So the government generates, the government transmits. It is only when it has gotten to transmission stations that business of it now comes in through distribution, through the discourse.
Yeah.
So if the federal government is subsidizing generation and transmission by 60%, which is not done anywhere in the world, there is no way we will not come to this level. And I think you understand the point I'm trying to make. Yes. So the first mistake we made as a nation was to have gone into business of power distribution when we have not enhanced interest in power generation. And power generation could have been done in such a way that we would not have been relying on one source. I do business around the Niger Delta. I know how much of gas is being flared, wasted away on a daily basis, even at the detriment of the health of the people. But that could have generated so much power that could have been added to general national grid to have given us more power because of interest of some saboteurs in the name of being minister of power and these and that and generator producers. They have submitted that process. So let's be clear about that. Now let's come to why we are in pain as a people now. The truth is we cannot continue to do things the same way and expect results. Whether we like it or not, removing subsidy on electricity or power distribution is the way to go. It is only the timing of it that is wrong. And the process of doing it, that is wrong. Just like the removal of subsidy from petrol or fuel generally is the way to go. It is the timing that Tinubu chose, and failing to do the underground work, failing to put some things in place before removing the subsidy, that they got it wrong, not the subsidy removal itself. The same way, removing subsidy from electricity is the way to go. But the process and the timing was wrong. If you must remove subsidy from electricity, number one is you must have enhanced your generation capacity in such a way that you have more than enough to transmit and distribute. It is only when people are having access to what they want that they will not grumble in being responsible for what they consume. Nobody talks about how much of data we consume as individuals now because you have access to it. You have value for it until it becomes what every Tom, Dick, and Harry can get. But how did they get it right in telecommunication that they are getting it wrong in fuel and electricity? The process. Now, when the federal government decided or was about to decide that tariff was going, subsidy was going to be removed on electricity, the first thing to have done was to have been national conscientization. And that is the failure of the National Orientation Agency and all of those government agencies that we have just wasting away. There must have been information that has been taken to the minutest level. Handbills, posters, banners, radio jingles, television jingles, even tank criers going to the villages to say, look, for this reason, this will happen. So people will have been aware that this is coming.
The message will have trickled down.
The message will have trickled down. They will not have been caught unaware.
Yeah.
Number two, the federal government should have also ensured that if having given information to everybody that needs it, that there will be increase in tariff. They must have also ensured that there is reserve in terms of power generation such that now demand can meet supply. So that if you want to consume more, you should be ready to pay more and you should be getting value for what you are paying. That is where they got it wrong. But the truth is, if you go and look at the commensurate cost of electricity in some other countries of the world, it's not what Nigerians are asked to pay, is not something out of this world. It's not something so exorbitant. It is because we are not even getting value for it, and the fact that the process of the increment was not properly communicated that we're having this problem. Now, the business side of it. And that is where the federal government needs to be careful, because the lot of the people sometimes do not also have notification, just like their own removals too was not properly communicated. Now somebody who has been paying 1,000 for about 14, 15 units, all of a sudden is going to be paying 1,000 for 4 units. You are giving room for one thing, energy theft. And it seems we are not paying attention to that now. Look, I am on the platform of the IBDC as one of their image makers, or what you call influencers. When they call such meeting of influencers to any of the offices or online meeting, I say this again and again, that look, if you don't do the right thing, you are going to be having the same problem. I'll give you 2 instances. Some of us, let me use some of us, who are not privileged as others, are made to be paying electricity that others who even have more means than us are enjoying. I will give you what I mean. Go to GRA, for example. Just pick 2 or 3 roads in GRA and count how many houses you have in those streets. Count how many of such houses are accessible by either a policeman or a PHCN official or an IBDC official. Many of them will either have tall fences, big gates, gatemen. Some of them will even have dogs. So how many of such houses within the GRA does officials of the IBDC go to check if they are bypassing or if they are stealing electricity or stealing power? And they are the same houses that will consume, that will have 5 ACs, they will have 3 freezers, they will have all kinds of electronics. Many of them are energy stealers, they are energy thieves. But because they have given themselves an undue class, they become so inaccessible that even though they are stealing power visibly, people who are supposed to be responsible for monitoring cannot dare go to them because they see them as the big men, the big guys,
Untouchables.
the untouchables. Then you now go to Ojaba, where one vulcanizer is living in a face me, I face you room apartment. And you are saying because he does not have meter for a house that he does not hold, a house that he rented, you say, oh, maybe face me and face about 8 rooms or 12 rooms in one building. Because they do not have meter or they have black meter or they are on direct, they must be paying 20,000 naira per month. And if they fail to meet up, you come and cut their light. So they are forced to service the consumption of the rich class, even when they are the most cheated of the people. So the question would be, what should be done?
Yeah.
Exactly.
In where I live, for example, I can say it boldly that if anybody charges 300 naira per kilowatt, it is deserving. Because sometimes in 1-2 weeks, our electricity does not even blink. It does not go off at all.
You guys are the band A we are talking about.
So
the band A
plus.
the band A pro. So the question would be that people that chooses to live in such places or chooses to do business in such places should understand that they have the moral responsibility to pay for what they are consuming.
That's a premium service.
That is the premium provision. Because look, this thing is simple. If you are giving me constant electricity and it's not low, what we call low current or bad current, then I can decide to check my income, my expenditure on electricity and other things, and use that to gauge what service I render. I can tell you, go to Powerline and you'll see a lot of welders. A lot of them have come to that axis because of electricity. So which means that they are going to be getting more jobs. They are going to be able to deliver on time because they have electricity to produce their work. They are going to charge more. So if you're asking them to pay for what they are consuming, it is understandable they can spread that cost on their business. But you don't ask somebody who only will use electricity for 4 hours in the day to be paying 250 naira per kilowatt. So even when you buy or you struggle to buy, you don't get to enjoy. So it is high time that the federal government realize that it is a social contract. You cannot ask me to be paying for what I am not enjoying. So the federal government should put more attention on increment in power generation. Because it's funny when I hear that Nigeria supply power to Ghana, they supply power to Niger. Why? The power that is not enough for us as a nation, they are supplying to those neighboring countries because they are making money from those places. In some parts of the north, with due respect to them, they don't pay electricity at all. They don't pay for electricity at all because they are seen to be volatile and unapproachable. How many times have you seen a video of some electricity line being cut off in any part of the north? And that is why when people say Adelabu is incompetent, I agree. But there are some things that he's doing right. Before now, who has ever bothered to ask questions about power that is being consumed in police and military barracks? Were they paying? which NEPA official, which IBEDC official will have the gut to go to a barrack to say, I want to cut off your electricity. Of course, you know the mentality of an average Nigerian about such things. Right. But this is a man that came and insists that all barracks must be metered.
Including the villa.
Including the villa.
In Abuja.
In Abuja. So, if you are getting some things right, and you are getting much more wrong, it is high time that you look at how to reduce the number of things you are getting wrong and communicate those things that you are getting right to the people.
All right. I mean, this is a very detailed explanation, and it's very insightful and enlightening, I should say, Mr. Ologun. But then you have established that the federal government is putting the cart before the horse, and this is causing sort of friction in what's happening in the power sector. But at this time, I'd like to ask you, you know, a lot of people, there's been uproar, especially with this announcement of the Band A getting to pay over 300% more than what they are paying at this time, while the B, C, D, E will still remain as what they are paying. But people have come out to say, even we that we know we do not get electricity supply for the number of hours that they say the Band A gets for, we are paying more. The amount I'm going to pay for a particular unit has increased. You know, people do not even know how to complain, who to complain to, where they should go. The FCCPC has waded into this conversation, you know, telling the Ministry of Power, telling the discos to actually revert to status quo. What do you think should be done at this time? Because people actually might be exploited at this time because of this new development. They don't know where they belong to. They don't know where they fall into. And before they know it, they will tell you, oh, you are part of the Band A we are talking about. Recently, I mean, Femi, we talked about this in the morning. The Abuja Electricity Distribution Company at the time was billing the Band E, B to E, the same way they were billing the Band A. And we hear that they have been sanctioned. But where do we go from here? How do we ensure that people do not pay for what they are not supposed to pay for?
I see docility in all of this.
Of who?
Of the people. As the people, we seem to be too complacent, such that even when we are not being given information that we deserve, we also don't ask questions. Look, I've said it earlier. It is the failure of the government and the business angle of power generation and distribution, the discourse, for not giving adequate information to the people. But when I know you are cheating me, and you are not ready to let me know the secret of your cheating me, if I'm conscious of the fact that you are cheating me, I have a right to ask questions to expose the fact that you are cheating me. So if the IBDs, I mean, if the discos, the distribution companies are cheating the people, deliberately so, exploiting the people by not giving them adequate and efficacious information, the people should be able to rise up and ask. For example, if I live in a place where I don't enjoy electricity more than 5 hours, and I know that there's no way with that number of hours of power supply, I can be in Band A. The worst is I could be in B to E, as the case may be, which means the increment does not affect me. And all of a sudden, I go to recharge, and I give the person 2,000, and that person is giving me 10 units. I should be able to stand my ground in that place and say, please, what is this for? This is the value I'm supposed to get for this. This is the value you are giving me. If 3, 4 people stand up to the officials where they want to buy electricity, if you don't, in our own parlance in civil society, we say before you know it, you turn to a congress. People will begin to gather. You will be able to educate the next person. The next person will educate the next person. People will gather and begin to ask questions. Now that they know that people are aware, by the time you go back there tomorrow, they won't try it. That is where docility comes in. Not when you just assume, when we got there, you don't have one on here.
To corroborate what my colleague said, Evelyn, I even have a personal experience in which over time, I'm not even talking about Band A, you just realize anytime you go to vent, that is not the same unit you used to be given.
Per time.
Per time. It's like the thing has been decreasing. You are not informed. It's like it's not been announced again. You just realize.
There are 2 things to that.
This is what you are getting.
There are 6 things to that. And I'm saying this from informed angle as one of the influencers. There are some homes and houses and meters that already there is a debt on it. Especially if you are switching from direct to metering or from black meter to the new meter. Sometimes the black meter or such houses will have incurred some debts. So by the time you now get the new prepaid meter, they will have to spread the amount of debt that was on that house, on that building, or that home, or that old meter, they will spread it on the new. So when you go to purchase power or purchase electricity units, they will first of all deduct parts of what is being owed from the amount of money you are presenting. Whatever is left is what they will now give you the value for. That happens. And that's why I say information is key. You should know. Communication is key. If I know, for example, that there's 200,000 naira debt on the house that I'm living in, or on the old meter, or direct as the case may be, and we have agreed it to be spread over 2 years. Let's assume that's about maybe 2,000 or 3,000. So I know that each time I'm going to buy electricity, if I go with 5,000, I should know that I'm going to get value for 2,000 because 3,000 will have been deducted.
But that's when there is an agreement.
But that is when there is an agreement. That's why I also talk about docility. PHCN or this courts rather have no right to decide for you. Go and look at the NERC Act. They have no right to decide for you how much they will be deducting on your debt. It's supposed to be by an agreement.
All right. But because of time, we have less than 2 minutes, and I have two good questions. Number one is this. Egypt, they don't have a population. South Africa, they don't even come close. These two nations are doing more than 50,000 megawatts in their country. Your country, my country, that's why I say your country, my country, is hovering between 4,000 and 5,000 for 200 million people.
Giant of Africa.
Source.
That's it. And then, quickly, as you add it, less than a minute to go, the attendant effect of this on businesses, especially at this time. This tariff increase.
Let me be quick with answering. Look, I talked about failure of successive government over the years in power generation. You cannot continue to do hydro. The world has moved. You cannot continue to be generating electricity from one source, which is hydro, water. So what happens when we're in the dry season? What happens when a tree falls on the water line and all of that? So what serious nation does is to look for as many alternatives as possible to generate power and now aggregate it to one source from where it is now being transmitted and distributed. But in our own case in Nigeria, it's just one source, hydro. What happens to the gas that is being fled away in the Niger Delta? Can't we generate some kilowatts of electricity from that? I mean, megawatts of electricity from that? What stops us from as sunny as the northeast? What stops us from generating some kilowatts of electricity from the north? What and what stops us from generating electricity from the wind? And now aggregate all of this to a central place to increase our production, which will now enhance distribution. So if as a nation we must get it right, we must look beyond hydro source of power generation alone. And then the second question, the effect of it on business. I can tell you for a fact that businesses are folding up. Our businesses will continue to fold up. I am a victim. In my office now, what my staff does if I'm not around is to probably put on AC. The moment they see that my car is approaching, they will go and switch it off because I will shout. So you can imagine if you have to be using every income you make as a businessman to pay for electricity bill, for power. Where then do you pay salaries of staff? Where then do you make profit? And that will lead us to power theft, which will not benefit any of us. Because if people resort to beginning to steal power, there will be reduction in how much money these discos make, and they won't be able to also buy enough from the transmission network, and then we begin to cry foul.
All right, we are out of time, Mr. Ologun, but I must say that it's been a very enlightening and insightful conversation with you this morning. We would have loved to go into what the states should be doing at this time, owing to the fact that generation of power has moved from the exclusive to the concurrent. But then we probably would have you some other time to shed more light on that. Thank you so much. Comrade Ayo Ologun is a human rights activist, a journalist, and a business owner here in Osogbo. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
And an influencer as well.
Of the IBDC.
We'll take you up on that in coming days.
All right.
All right, people. Thank you so much for being a part of our world. It's been a great show this morning. We'll make a return tomorrow, 7 o'clock through to 8:30. You can watch a recap of the show on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Connect with us on our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and X at Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, and I'll remind you to stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast. And like I always say, Nigeria will work, must work in our own lifetime.
All right, Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.